This GranTurismo is a seriously handsome car. Dimensions are pretty much unchanged. It is 49mm longer and 42mm wider, but the new car has gained some more muscular curvature, and so it actually looks a little more compact. It sits on a new platform that will also underpin the forthcoming quadruport, and features a structure that combines aluminium with high-strength steel. At 1,795 kilograms, it is no svelte lightweight, but is actually lighter than its pudgy predecessor, and that's despite the standard fitment of all-wheel drive and air suspension. The engine is the biggest change from the retired model. The sonorous V8 has gone, replaced by Maserati's Nettuno twin-turbocharged 3.0-liter V6. This is the same motor that powers both the MC20 and the punchiest Trofeo version of the Grecale, and features a very clever pre-combustion chamber. Two outputs will be offered, the Medina getting 490 horsepower and the range-topping Trofeo, which I spent most time driving in Italy, having 550 horsepower. The Trofeo also gets various other tweaks, including an electronically controlled rear differential capable of torque biasing and a harder-edged Corsa dynamic mode. An 8-speed ZF Autobox is standard on the combustion versions. There is also a fully electric Folgore version, which I experienced in prototype form, but I'll tell you about that elsewhere. Conventional switchgear has been practically eliminated with the exception of the various controls on the steering wheel, these including a rotary dial for the various driving modes on the right and an engine start/stop button on the left. But the GranTurismo keeps with Maserati's tradition of push-button gear selectors, with P/R/N/D controls above the lower display screen. Although usability was generally good, there were a couple of foibles, including having to use the touch screen to release the gearbox. It also has electric door release buttons, which seem completely pointless given the GranTurismo still has internal mechanical handles as well to give redundancy in the event of a power failure. Overall, though, the quality of materials and construction felt impressively high. I particularly like the reconfigurable circular mini-screen that has replaced the traditional Maserati dash-top clock. This can indeed display a crisply rendered clock face, but also a compass or a G-meter. The GranTurismo also remains very practical by the standards of something so sleek and handsome. Space in the back isn't generous, but it is adult viable certainly for short journeys, something that couldn't be said of many other two-door GTs. It's still comfy after a couple of hours behind the wheel, too. Grip was decent, but pushing harder and slower stuff had the Trofeo's front end nibbling into an elegant understeer, and there was a definite numbness to the sensations passing from the tires to the steering wheel as the limits got near. Both things I suspect grippier tires would improve on. Reducing entry speeds gave the Trofeo's smart rear differential the chance to show off its torque biasing talents, accelerating the outside wheel to get the car turned. The effect felt keen in the punchier dynamic modes, as if a big oversteer moment is imminent. I actually preferred the more subtle intervention in the gentler GT setting. The dynamic mode also alters suspension settings as well as a multitude of other variables. The standard air springs offer impressive compliance. Comfort mode is getting close to Bentley levels of pillow over bigger bumps, while GT and Sport increase discipline without turning the GranTurismo in any way harsh, and as in the MC20 there is a separate damper control to allow softer chassis settings to be selected in the more aggressive dynamic modes. The air springs bring many benefits, including the ability to lift the front end over bumps and curbs, but they also mean there is still a very slight sensation of floatiness in the full Fawn Corsa mode. This Trofeo never feels as rigidly lashed down as the old MC Straydale did, but it is much more civilized at lower speeds. It would be unfair to criticize a car called the GranTurismo for behaving mostly like a GT. The chassis exhibits many of the qualities that make the MC20 so good. A briefer turn in the Medina, also wearing winter tires, confirmed that it doesn't lack much compared to the Trofeo, presuming the absence of the Corsa dynamic mode isn't a deal breaker. Maserati claims significantly different performance figures for both variants, the Medina's 3.9 SEC 0 to 62 miles per hour time being 0.4 SEC slower and its 13.0 SEC 0 to 124 miles per hour time 1.6 SEC behind the Trofeo's searing pace. The Medina's 187 miles per hour top speed is also 11 miles per hour shy. Yet subjectively the difference is far closer. On twisty Italian roads I was struggling to feel a significant change even driving the two cars back to back. The Medina's lack of the clever rear differential also gives it more natural feeling responses when pushed in corners, but also a slightly greater tendency to understeer.